I fought by his side. He betrayed me. Now I will destroy everything he has created!
Imagine a villain who's so consumed by the hunger for power that even death cannot derail him from this mission. And even in the afterworld, he spends centuries wreaking havoc and fulfilling his desires through heinous crimes. Now that is a force of deliberate and determined evil. That person is General Kai. Kai is one of the most popular villains of DreamWorks and certainly the most intimidating one. From the curve of his horns to his large, muscular body, every pixel of General Kai is the vision of formidability. Even when he stumbles upon an energy that could heal and strengthen the whole world, and I mean something incredibly potent, he simply wants it all to himself. And he will stop at nothing, absolutely nothing, to get it.
Your chi will soon be mine.
There's an aura of menacing ruthlessness about him that makes our jaws drop. And that's exactly what makes him so scary. But Kai is a complex character. The scary outer appearance and the lust for power that lingers on in his afterlife is just one aspect of his personality. But how did a yak become one of the most imposing villains in animated cinema? And what can we learn from his character to make our own unstoppable, tyrannical, and mercilessly vengeful villain? There's a reason that General Kai stands out, and it's not because of those jade chi chains, though we will explore the purpose of those both within the storyline as well as on the character design. After surviving a 500-year pursuit of power, Kai returns to the mortal world with glowing green eyes, highlighting the fact that he is undead and continues to ruthlessly devour the energy of others. But what does that mean, and why? To understand the reasons that General Kai became such a savage criminal in both the mortal and spiritual realm, it's important to first dive into the setting where all of this takes place. Inner peace was certainly the central theme of Kung Fu Panda 2. After all, that's what Po had to discover after a long and difficult journey, and that's what eventually enabled him to overcome Lord Shen's invincible weapons and army. However, immediately after Kung Fu Panda 3 starts, we learn that Master Oogway's inner peace is disturbed inside the spirit world. Back in the mortal realm, Po is instructed by Master Shifu to become a teacher to the Five. While struggling with this new aspect of his Kung Fu journey, Po gets a visit from his father, Li Shan, at his adoptive father, Mr. Ping's noodle shop. Li Shan tells Po that the universe sent him there. The theme of the universe being able to communicate with characters is a Taoist belief that plays a role as one of the key themes in the Kung Fu Panda universe, right from the very first film. But there's more to this, as we'll find out. Po is ecstatic to be reunited with his father and shows him around the Jade Palace, where his father steps into the suit of arms of the legendary Master Thundering Rhino. While the two goof off and wreak havoc among the ancient and mystical artifacts preserved within the palace, up in the spirit realm, something terrible has happened. In General Kai's 500-year pursuit of power within the spiritual realm, he has taken down some powerful figures, such as Master Storming Ox, Master Croc, and even the leader of the council, Master Thundering Rhino. This has made him immensely powerful, but he wishes to continue to seize power and closes up, finally, on Master Oogway. Oogway surrenders in true monk fashion to Kai's attack. But during the attack, he warns Kai that he has left a successor at the hands of whom this yak will meet his defeat. Po, on the other hand, is belly bumping his father. It is only when the gongs of the valley begin to ring, signaling danger, that Po first realizes that something is wrong. Po and the Five take off immediately and surprisingly encounter jade statue reincarnations of heroic warriors, all of the aforementioned great masters of China, except right now they're attacking the city. General Kai has sent these proxy figures to carry out his attack and learn the whereabouts of Oogway's successor as soon as he arrived in the mortal world. But the thing is, General Kai isn't a renowned figure. In fact, when he first arrives in the mortal world, a pair of ducks squint at him in surprise, wondering who he's referring to as he recounts all of his insidious aliases. It's clear that very few in China have ever even heard of the great warlord General Kai. So how does an obscure warrior from centuries ago manage to, as the film progresses, wreak such havoc within the valley? The reason is that he has something far more powerful than the glowing blades he swings around, more powerful even than any battle equipment and even the legendary Mushi finger hold. He has the ability to steal the core energy and central life force of all living and non-living beings.
Oh! What was
was that?
That was Chi.
When the five and Po fight an epic battle and manage to pin down the jade statues, Kai uses his supernatural powers to inform them through the statues of his evil intentions. He attempts to strike fear into their hearts by pointing out the formidability of this declaration of war and intent to seize and slaughter. But neither the five and Master Shifu nor Po have any idea who he is.
Who?
As the gang attempts to find out more about Kai, Master Shifu unrolls a scroll in the Hall of Warriors that reveals some ancient knowledge. Apparently, the transmission of Qi is an esoteric practice that pandas have naturally always known how to perform. When this fact is unveiled, Po's biological father, Li Shan, seizes an opportunity to bond with his son and offers help on the mission to fight Kai off. Li Shan offers to teach Po how to master Qi, and Po gladly accepts. And it is at this junction that we uncover for the first time the real story of General Kai, who he is, how people forgot about him, and most importantly, why is he so hell-bent on stealing the life force of all living beings? But why would an eminent warrior want to gain a supernatural power? What exactly does it yield him? Well, as I mentioned before, General Kai is a formidable warrior who is known by many terrifying names: Beast of Vengeance, Maker of Widows, Master of Pain, Jade Slayer, and the Collector. General Kai originally fought alongside Master Oogway. The two of them were, in fact, brothers in arms. Historically, they shared a deep bond and ensnared many in a battlefield with the combined invincibility of their martial arts prowess. General Kai was powerful and respected, but still couldn't hold a candle to Master Oogway. So he found himself lacking in certain areas and tried to compensate for it by turning into a conceited energy kleptomaniac who would go on to, long after his death, steal the energies of Master Warcraft practitioners and try to make them yield to his command. General Kai was, however, originally loyal towards Oogway, and I believe that he simply wanted to feel like an equal. His friendship and honest allegiance are showcased when we watch Kai carrying a severely injured Oogway through snow and storm for days until they finally come across a secret panda village. The pandas in the village were able to heal Master Oogway through the mystical art of channeling Qi or transferring life force towards him. However, the knowledge was so ancient and rare that it was lost over time, and even the masters of Kung Fu needed to spend decades in practice to master it. It was at this point that, for some reason, General Kai became overcome with greed and lust for power and used this newfound knowledge to his own advantage by stealing the Qi of multiple pandas. I mean, Kai, dude, come on. You're already a revered and celebrated warrior who gets to work alongside Oogway. And has this monk-like tortoise taught you nothing about the power of giving versus taking? Evidently, before General Kai came into the picture, Qi could only be given and not taken. It was his diabolical mind that arrived at the realization that he could also apply the process in reverse. In order to put a stop to the chaos that Kai had wielded by stumbling upon this murderous idea, the now healed Master Oogway heroically fought him in an epic battle. General Kai lost the fight and was banished into the spirit realm. Furious at his humiliating defeat, General Kai spent centuries in the spirit realm stealing the Qi of unsuspecting past masters. 500 years later, when he finally came upon Master Oogway, he realized that the time for vengeance had come. But General Kai doesn't just pat himself on the back after stealing Oogway's Qi and feeling proud for having scored even. No, he wants to go back into the mortal world and steal the Qi of all the masters who are still currently living, so that he can be the most powerful yak in the world? I mean, dude, you have got to calm down. So now he's back. Nobody remembers who he is, and he unleashes hell upon all regions of China by setting off his supernatural jade statue warrior weapons on them. He's going to stop at nothing to acquire the Qi of every last character we know. Kai doesn't just want a moderate amount of power, he wants to keep consuming. That is evident in his unending spite for Oogway and the pursuit to strengthen his Qi that is hinted at the first time we meet him. There, we see General Kai's eyes green with envy for Oogway and glowing to represent his undead nature, and his strong aura, developed through the acquisition of others, cast him in a terrifying and imposing light. The stature of the scary undead yak is set from the start of the movie in the first scene where Oogway encounters Kai in the spirit realm. Kai makes his first appearance by proxy. It's not him, but his glowing blade that disrupts Oogway's meditation. This is a fitting foreshadow of how the ruthless general would continue to carry out abuse by proxy throughout China later on in the film. He then propels himself forward, wreaking havoc and chaos as he splices open floating pieces of land with his glowing blades. We can see through this sequence that Kai has an inherently destructive nature. The dialogue sequence in this scene clearly points towards Kai's determination towards the goal that he has set for himself. It also highlights the fact that Kai is a taker, not a giver, which is an essential characteristic of a villain.
Chi of every master here.
Oogway's gasp when he sees the chi lockets that Kai has chained to his waist adds another tint of terror. His unyielding pursuit of power is also clearly stated right from the very get-go.
And soon I will have your power too.
Kai lassos together two gigantic floating bits of land and then chains Oogway despite the yin-yang shield of defense that Oogway has set for himself. This makes his strength very apparent.
Grown stronger.
Although the first scene is only about 3 minutes long, it clearly establishes Kai as the antagonist of the film while shedding light on some of his core traits. He's undead, he can hold a grudge, the guy's evil, and he's obsessed with acquisition. The colorism used in this scene further accentuates aspects of Kai's personality, especially when noted in contrast to Oogway. While Oogway meditates under a cherry blossom and casts a golden shield through a staff that also glows golden at the top, Kai is stationed on a grayish-black landmass with green glowing eyes and blades. These colors represent Oogway's innocence and goodness in contrast to Kai's decayed morals, jealousy, and spite. The only thing not gray about him is the fact that he's definitely a bad guy. But it's more than just his pursuit of power and desire to be seen. No, Kai has a deeper motive. But what? In Kung Fu Panda 3, Kai wastes no time in making it apparent that he is up to no good. He makes his motivation incredibly clear by spelling it out in the first scene. He declares that he would like a rematch with Oogway, who he considers an equal, and that in his pursuit of power, he will spend the next 90 minutes in the film hunting down masters of Kung Fu and stealing their life forces. In one of the final scenes, however, it's pointed out that the extent to which he would go is not just to masters of Kung Fu, but ordinary practitioners as well. This is highlighted when he threatens to take the chi of every panda in the village after he's done with Po and Tigress. It's also that Po's adoptive father, Mr. Ping, is present at the scene, and he is not a practitioner of Kung Fu. So for him to also achieve this threat showcases that Kai's motivation is simple, unhinged world domination through devouring. But his immense hunger for recognition and reverence aside, what could possibly cause Kai to act this way? It's made apparent that Kai didn't actually turn into a villain in the secret panda village, but he had the potential all along.
Yes.
Kai was always sinister long before he died and came back to the mortal world, but we can't see it at first glance. Upon closer observation, however, it becomes quite clear. How, you might ask? Throughout the film, a recurring joke is that nobody knows who Kai is. This is especially frustrating for him because Kai thinks very highly of himself and is upset when others don't seem to see him that way. One could draw the conclusion that this is what made him so conceited in the first place, but that's not exactly the case. There's still more to Kai, as he was always evil on the inside. Kai's identity is explicated in his third appearance in the film. It's the reason he is the way that he is. There is a hint. Can you guess what it is?
Know me as the Beast of Vengeance. Maker of Widows.
It's all of his villainous titles, in contrast to the other Ascended Masters who go by names like Master Thundering Rhino or Master Croc. General Kai has always gone by terrifying names. I mean, Master of Pain, Maker of Widows, Beast of Vengeance? Seriously? How about something less devilish like Master Kai? Kai's identity is deeply explicated within every single scene that he appears in. These hints absolve us of any and all compassion towards him and allow us to see him for what he is: nefarious. Furthermore, Kai is a general. This senior military rank further hints at his protracted pursuit of methods and mechanisms to acquire dominion and control over large segments of people. Being a military warrior also paints him as a character of violence. What makes him attack the Jade Palace and shatter the entire building by hurling Master Oogway's statue through it? If he wanted dominion over the land, surely he would have revered the Jade Palace as the site from where he would rule the country. What's wrong with this guy? Why would he break down the most eminent monument for all practitioners of Kung Fu in China? His hatred for Oogway was one thing. What was this all about? Let me explain. Strangely, Kai is not concerned with acquiring power in order to rule and gain recognition. It's clear that his motivation to be considered an equal to Oogway is no longer the case after he has seized Oogway's chi and continues to thrash about, violently breaking apart city after city and collecting chi. No, what this guy is up to is pure spitefulness. His spat with Oogway is simply one aspect of the problem. The bigger problem is that he is infuriated at the world in general. But there's more to it than that. Kai believes that he is deserving of reverence and glory. He considers himself to be superior from the rest and repeatedly carries out abuse by proxy. When his inherent belief of superiority clashes with the reality of the world, where he's just a yak general leading an army, he takes it upon himself to make the world suffer for it. And he tries to acquire supernatural powers, having power that transcend mere mortals, in order to prove to the rest of the world that he is inherently better than them. This makes him an especially tragic character because you can't help but feel sorry for someone who is so incredibly entitled. Because, you need to steal other people's energy source to make yourself appear stronger than them? You've got to be kidding me. But feeling pity for a character when we see him doing all these crazy things is one thing, but could Kai ever have been anything other than what he was? Was there a way for him to learn a lesson? Here's what I think. It seems on certain occasions that Master Oogway should have counseled his friend rather than battling and sending him to the spirit realm. But that's not necessarily what happened. In fact, Kai's irredeemability is showcased within the very first scene of the film. Before Kai steals Oogway's chi and turns him into a jade pendant, Oogway does tell Kai that he needs to stop taking. It's an emphatic statement, and the delivery of the dialogue suggests that Oogway has had this conversation with him multiple times in the past.
The less you have.
And it's clear that Kai has refused to listen. Throughout the film, there are moments where Kai could have had mercy on the people or animals, more specifically, that he terrorized. The case of Master Shifu when he's lying helplessly at the steps of the Jade Palace is one example. The way he gloats in front of the whole village and boasts his immortality while threatening people in the final scene is another. Kai's irredeemability is a central aspect of the movie's core theme, and ultimately, his stubbornness on his desires, supernatural world domination, is what defeats him. Spoiler alert, when he gets what he wants, he dies. Kai is decidedly spooky. He has long curving horns, glowing green eyes, large muscular body, and razor-sharp hooves. We've already discussed the underlying message of the colors used for his character, but he's made especially scary by the presence of axe-like blades that he keeps chained to his person. I think that this is representative of how Kai continues to hold on to hostility. He also keeps the chi shells of his captives chained to himself, which keep him connected to the afterworld and allow him to channel supernatural powers. General Kai has a unique battle style, using blades while maintaining a physical distance from his opponents. The development of such a character who has so many underlying layers that are hinted at through the cinematography and character design throughout the film is a work of genius. But there's a secret sauce to it. There's a formula that you can apply to make your story's antagonist as imposing, terrifying, deeply hollow, and ultimately self-defeating as General Kai was. Creating a character as daunting as Kai requires a blending together of motive, unnatural powers, and inherently lethal tendencies. Let me break it down for you. Step 1. Create a compelling backstory. We've already discussed the emotional core of General Kai at length. Creating a compelling backstory and then letting the villain's past weave into their present is one of the best ways to write them. This is because showcasing this part of the story is a great way to clarify motive. General Kai's power-hungry nature would staunchly establish him as a corrupt general during his mortal life, but the writers of this character have used layers to prevent him from being as simplistic as that. General Kai is cast into a gray area when we learn about his early allegiance to and friendship with Oogway. It almost makes us feel sorry for him. This prevents the character from becoming too plain. Every well-written villain in movies always feels that they are better than normal people. Some of these villains will lean towards acquiring supernatural powers or already have acquired them in order to execute what most people won't be able to accomplish. The reason General Kai pursues the acquisition of other people's chi is an inherent desire for power and invincibility. Step 3. Exaggerate how dangerous they are. In Kung Fu Panda 3, Master Shifu advises Crane and Mantis to not engage with General Kai if they come across him. This element of disengagement is a protection mechanism that is repeated throughout the film. When writing a supernatural villain, emphasizing the lethality of confrontation with them adds merit to their supernal prowess. Step 4. Use proxy warfare. Kai's most fearsome quality is his ability to command the figures of those whose chi he has captured. Rather than doing the dirty work himself, he gets other people to do it. This highlights both his inherent superiority complex, where he does not deign to attack by himself, as well as further strengthens the degree of power that he holds. I mean, the guy's getting celebrated kung fu masters to do his bidding. Doesn't quite get more evil than that. Step 5. Don't be blatant with their supernatural powers. In Kung Fu Panda 3, the use of a supernatural villain was done carefully. His powers tie into the central theme and core plot of the movie, rather than overpowering it. Kai's supernatural powers are used more like a tool of execution rather than the entirety of his being. He still has a non-supernatural and non-villain backstory and motivation that's not inherently supernatural. At the same time, his supernatural powers cause him to transcend from being a regular warrior with a potential to turn wicked to absolutely horrific undead yak warlord. What I'm getting at here is that there's a delicate balance, and this is what makes him more convincing. Kai was an incredible villain not only because he was empty on the inside, but because he wielded powers beyond the mortal world. Throughout the film, his effort to cover up this inner feeling of emptiness is shown in his relentless drive to steal chi from others, transforming them into jade minions under his control. It demonstrates his inflated ego onto others as he introduces himself as a legendary warlord. I still can't believe it. The Widowmaker? He couldn't have been serious. His supernatural strength and command over the spirit realm make his character not only intimidating, but complex, as the traits of greed, entitlement, and vengeance are blended exceptionally well in his character. If you found this deep dive into Kai's persona and agendas interesting, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what you think makes for a truly formidable villain.